You are listening to N.A.M.E Broadcast Radio, serving top professionals from all over the globe, with our international host, Mr. Steve Barron.
Good afternoon, everyone. In a moment, I'm going to introduce a very special guest we have here today. But first, I'd like to take a moment and tell you a little bit about him. He's worked on projects such as the Saturn space program, developed equipment used in the Vietnam War, supplied technologies for CBS, holds over 140 U.S. and international patents, which 19 are still pending, manages over 40 new products annually. He's the president and CEO of Production Engineer Designs Incorporated. From St. Charles, Illinois, please welcome James Montagnino. James, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well, thank you, Steve.
James, I've looked over a lot of your information, a lot of your resume. You have extensive experience, over 50 years in the industry. But before we get to that, I'd really like to dial the clock back a little bit. Tell me, when and where did you see yourself going into this particular line of work? Elaborate on that a little for us, please.
Actually, it started really in high school and probably was set up even before that, where my father used to recognize my talent, and being able to visualize and see things, and always was equipping me with tools, carpentry, and models. And basically, I spent a lot of my time, just creating objects which nobody else saw. And when I got into high school, I found that the design drafting area was an area of interest, and just pursued the career step by step from there, without ever really having a set goal in mind.
Really very interesting. I'm reading things like the Saturn space program. You supplied some of the first technologies for CBS. Tell me a little bit about the Saturn space program. Tell me a little bit about CBS technology.
Well, Saturn space program actually is first an offshoot of my work at PerkinElmer Corporation. I was one of the very fortunate people to actually work as a team member under the direction of Werner von Braun, who you may know was the German-American aerospace engineer and space architect. And he's really the one that taught me the philosophy, don't tell me what you cannot do, tell me what you can do. And that really has been the key to my success in this business, is to really not deal in negatives and deal in people telling me what they can do, because basically any idiot can tell you what they cannot do. You need a person with a half a brain, a half a thought, that's going to give you an idea, that's going to stimulate another idea or an extension of the idea.
Okay. Very good. Now, obviously, you have extensive experience in engineering, international diverse professional development, including strategic planning. But define to me a little bit and really enlighten our audience here. International diverse professional development. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, international is, of course, a spinoff of, in the 1970s, when America started looking at Asian sourcing, for products. That was one of the forerunners of, where we are today, because today China is now a given for just about everybody developing products for low-cost consumer market. Back then, it was an experiment in trying to find a way to lower the cost of manufacturing to basically capture market share. As prices in the U.S. were climbing and wages were climbing, we found ourselves in a position with the consumer product area, not being able to move the quantity of product necessary, and the cost of items was prohibiting the growth of sales. Going into the international, market basically involved us going in and training people in other languages in other countries, in the culture of American products, what we wanted and expected in quality control, what we wanted and expected in innovation. And it really was a driven process where the American engineer had to go there and show people how to think outside the box, because that was not the culture of the Japanese, to do so. They were more manufacturing-oriented engineers and continue to still be.
Wow. Okay. That was a mouthful. Let me tell you, really, your credentials speak for themselves. Now, I'm seeing over 140 patents, not only here in the United States, but this is on an international level. 19 plus are still pending. Tell me something about some of those, if you can.
Yeah, pitney bows would be an area which we can discuss just about anything because it is a public domain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at pitney bows, I had the opportunity to actually create innovation in high-speed postage systems, because at that time, most of the postage systems required basically a hand-crank postage meter where you went to the post office, you gave them a certain amount of dollars, they would load your machine with new postage, and you would be able to stamp off, your envelopes. As, business increased and mailings increased, people looked for automation. In other words, how could you put in a stack of mail of various sizes, weights, different thickness envelopes into a feeder.
Correct.
Have them automatically feed through the machine at a high rate of speed, apply the postage, weigh on the fly so you knew what the correct postage was, and stamp it, and then stack it in the order in which it would be delivered. I wound up having the good fortune to actually hold 7 of the key patents for all of the automated mailing systems that were done by pitney bows, and it was a really kind of a fun thing to do because you took product that had never been processed at anything faster than, let's say, maybe 2 pieces every second to as much as 4 pieces a second, which was a great increase in productivity.
Okay. Well, listen, you're working on an international basis, I understand. And you had alluded to the Chinese and some things that are taking place over there. Obviously, you have a lot of experience here, not only nationally but internationally, expertise in international business relations, OEM sourcing. Tell me what it is about what you bring to these companies and individuals that really you feel sets you apart and really puts you in a category of your own.
Well, the first thing is taking the aspect of the training that was given to me by people like Werner von Braun, which is to really don't deal in negatives. The average engineer, unfortunately, traps himself today in, what he calls, his book learning. In other words, the laws of physics dictate what you think you can do. The rules of the space race were, we never had been there. We had never done this.
Mm-hmm.
It was all new ground to be plowed, and there was no science behind, how it was going to be done. Therefore, any idea was an acceptable idea, and it had to just be put on the table for free thinking. And this is what is necessary in creating even consumer products. You have to look at a problem, and say, what can I create for a solution?
Mm-hmm.
With that thought in mind, have a clean slate. Look at any possible way of solving a problem and not worry about whether it is realistic, reasonable, or even cost effective. That can be worked on after you have the idea.
Let me tell you, what you said was very, very profound. Tell me what you can do, not what you can't do. I think that's terrific. Where do you see this? Where do you see yourself a year or two down the line? Anything new for you on the horizon?
Well, basically at my age, I don't see myself, reaching that much further other than taking my, network of, customers into, the ability to train their own staffs, to train them into thinking outside the box, and show them how to set up a process of innovation, a process of looking, where's my next step? How do I take my competitor down? Where's my competitor's weaknesses? How do I analyze their weaknesses and create a strength for my company by doing so? And that is really the strategic planning part that people are lacking today. They're not thinking, where are the openings? Where are the opportunities? And you need to identify those because that's where the money is going to be. If everybody is me too, you're going to compete on price. Innovation is what sets profit.
You and I have been speaking, and to me you sound like you're 39 for life, and I think that was Jack Benny that said that. So let's not worry about age. What you're doing here really is providing an expertise, and that is institutional knowledge. I understand. Let me